We have housing and planning, and first on our list is Laura Seafang with the Big Sky Community Housing Trust, a nonprofit which recently received its official nonprofit status in 2020. It is governed by a board of 11 directors. The purpose of the Big Sky Community Housing Trust is to support the local economy and enhance the character of the community through implementation of a variety of housing strategies, including those outlined in a comprehensive 2017 Housing Action Plan. These strategies include deed-restricted ownership of homes and long-term rentals for local workers. And with that, I'll turn it over to Laura Seafang.
Thanks, Danny. So the Big Sky Housing Trust is working on one of the most critical problems that we're facing in our community. It's been a problem that's been around for a long time, that we just don't have enough housing affordable for our local workforce. And people who've been here 25 years tell me we had that problem 25 years ago. But it's really acute now. As we all know, real estate prices have been going through the roof, and it's just causing housing to be out of reach for our local workforce. Right now, 80% of our workforce, we estimate, is traveling through the canyon every day. And that just doesn't make for a healthy community. So we're working on several solutions in our nonprofit. One is to bring some home ownership opportunities to folks. With median home prices at $2.4 million, that's pretty much out of reach for most of our local workforce, if not all of them. We did build 52 condominiums behind the tennis courts and softball fields, the Meadowview project, and those were sold at about 50% of market rate. They're all deed restricted, can only be owned by local workers, and the appreciation on those units is capped so that they cannot sell them at market rate, so that we can keep them affordable for future owners. We're also now working on some rental solutions because not everybody's ready to buy. So right now we have two things going. One, our Riverview development in partnership with Lone Mountain Land Company. We're trying to develop 100 units of apartments. There'll be 1, 2, 3-bedroom apartments and also some expanded dorm-style housing there. All of those will be deed restricted and rented only to local workers forevermore, so they can't get turned into short-term rentals. So we're excited to be able to get that project moving. We had some disappointing news a couple weeks ago that we didn't get some of the federal tax monies that we hoped would come our way for the project, but we haven't given up hope on that, and we'll keep working to make this project move forward. But that's going to be 2 years away, and we're going to struggle mightily to not have any additional housing units for the next 2 years. So we've implemented what we call a rent local program, trying to inspire people who own properties to rent out to local workers long-term instead of on the short-term vacation market. We're actually paying people to do that so that they can make almost the same money that they make on the short-term market. In just 10 weeks of paying those incentives, we've added 21 units to the marketplace and housed over 40 workers. So we know it's working, and it's a way to temporarily get some housing stock out there for our local workforce. So it's a community-wide problem, and we all need to work together. We're just a staff of 2.5 people trying to work on this right now, but we're looking for donations. We have some opportunities coming up for the community to donate during the Give Big, which is happening the Tuesday right after Thanksgiving. But also, you could participate in the Rent Local program. If you had a bedroom for rent or a condo that isn't utilized, you can let us know, and we can match you up with a great local worker who could rent your unit. We also have, in the middle there, a home share program. If you have a higher end unit that you just like to donate, it's used for a week or two during the year. We'll let somebody that's donated their unit or put their unit full-time into the Rent Local program, but they still want to come out and visit Big Sky for a couple weeks vacation, maybe you'd let them stay at your vacation property for a couple weeks. So there's lots of ways we could all get involved to try to make this solution a reality. It's going to be a lot of work, but we can actually get there with it. So stop by and see us next door, and we'll give you more information. Thanks.
Thanks, Laura, for all you do to make Big Sky better together. My dad was a Presbyterian minister, and I always used to sit in the back pew, which left a lot of empty seats up front. So if anyone standing in the back would like to actually a seat, there's a few of not here. Next up, we have Susan Scott with the Big Sky Owners Association, a nonprofit which was established in 1972 and is governed by a board of 9 directors. The Big Sky Owners Association is Big Sky's largest and oldest homeowners association, created nearly 50 years ago as Big Sky's pseudo-municipality. Along with community support, the BSOA is still providing public services, architectural and landscape review, open space management, and compliance enforcement within its jurisdiction of over 2,400 properties. Kick us off, Susan.
Thank you, Dan. All right, thank you. Hi there. Nice to see everyone. Big Sky Owners Association, BSOA, is a master's association with over 60 subdivisions and sub-associations within its jurisdiction. And we have quite a history. In fact, we are, somebody else is managing that, thank you. We are, where was I? We, excuse me. We extend back nearly 50 years. And we have established many of the community's leadership organizations. To name a few, Fire and Transportation District, the Big Sky Tax Resort, we were there when it was going to the legislature, and then also BSOA, of course, amongst others. We also have successfully established some of the basic necessities of the Big Sky community, including power line to Big Sky, the water sewer district to Meadow Village, the post office, TV services, and 911 services, the formation of the parks, including the community park and Ouzo Falls. So after all this time, the BSOA continues to fulfill our mission in a very real way to preserve, protect, and enhance property values and quality of life. So here are some of the recent ways BSOA improves the quality of Big Sky. Preserve. We provide public services, as Danny mentioned, within our jurisdiction. For instance, the BSOA owns and maintains over 100 acres of open space, some with trails of hiking, biking, cross-country ski trails, and then also some forested lands. To maintain these properties, we provide weed and pest control as well as fire prevention and mitigation for the safety of the community. Protect. Thank you. Along with architectural review within our jurisdiction of 8,000 acres, we provide services such as land use restrictions and covenant compliance. Some may think that the enforcement we provide is a negative, but when there's a need to protect wetlands or to ensure safe road passage, the BSOA becomes very important in ensuring that life goes on without disturbances. And then also enhancement. We have some pretty exciting projects that we are working on, like sustainability within our community. We've just hired a sustainability consultant to help us implement LEED certified construction within our jurisdiction in an effort to utilize our community's resources wisely. Also sustainability to ensure proper review and consideration is done on future projects that may impact our quality of life in the Big Sky community. Impacts such as traffic, transportation, wildlife, and water sewer district. And with that, we are looking forward to cooperate and collaborate with leadership organizations within the Big Sky community to further that. And also over the last few years, we've been working with secondary emergency egress within the community. And now with the commitment from Madison County to improve the lower portion of Jack Creek Road, we are focusing our attention on emergency evacuation plan within Madison County. And then of course the BSOA ponds and West Fork restoration. We've been trying to implement this project for a number of years. And as some of you know, the project has been delayed several times for a variety of reasons. But the board is now again moving forward in a final effort to complete the proposed community recreation ponds that will not only restore the West Fork fishery, but also provide a viable fishing pond in the Meadow Village, as well as a fishing dock, beaches and trails, and picnic area. So we're really excited about that as well. Again, finding ways to continue to improve what makes the Big Sky a special place has been at the heart of the BSOA for many years, and we continue to look forward to that in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Susan, for all you do to make Big Sky better together. Next up, we have the Town Center Association and Ryan Hamilton representing them. They are a nonprofit that was established in 2001 that is governed by a board of directors of 3. Bozeman natives, the Simpkins family, have been responsibly guiding the planning and development of the Town Center for over 20 years, always supporting their commitment to leave a legacy of which the community and their family can be proud. They have owned land in Big Sky since the early 1970s. And with that, we'll turn it over to Ryan to kick us off with TCO.
Thank you. Hi there, thanks to Resort Tax for holding this community forum. My name is Ryan Hamilton. I've worked with the Simpkins family and on the Big Sky Town Center project for more than 20 years, since there was just sagebrush in the meadow here, or at least in the Town Center portion of the meadow. We're in Town Center right now. The Big Sky Town Center, the initial slide was, the title was the Town Center Owners Association. So my focus of this will be mostly on the TCOA, which is managing the asset, the built environment that largely the Simpkins family and the various project developers have built over the years. The TCOA doesn't really build much, but it maintains, manages, administers what's here in Town Center largely. TCOA started in 2001. It's a Town Center is 165 acres, so it's really just a triangle with the borders of the Low Mountain Trail, sort of West Fork, and then the West Fork Community and South Fork, and then the South Fork River down there along the edge of the bluff. We have about 200 owners in Town Center right now, 200 members. Big Sky Town Center is about 65% built out. What we do for the HOA is similar to the responsibilities and roles of the BSOA, although we are our own HOA. But it's public safety, it's events, it's managing the assets, it's architectural design review, it's enforcement, it's open space management, it's signage, it's dumpsters, it's lighting, it's snow removal, it's all of those things that you see happening out here. We are very proud of the partnerships that we've been able to create over the years, and whether that's some recent ones like composting and recycling with the Big Sky Snow Group. There's a new memorial pavilion being built right now and be finished in the spring over in Fire Pit Park. We've had a really spectacular partnership with the Arts Council of Big Sky for public art, and I'm sure they'll explain more of that later, but there's a new sculpture in the middle of the roundabout over there. The Little Free Libraries, Gallatin River Task Force through some gray water purple pipe installations. The list is long. We've been at this for 20 years running the HOA, and we'll keep going. Town Center is we have contractors. Independent contractors. We don't have any employees at the moment. The time that I spend on TCOA is I work for the Simpkins family as well, and so I'd say about half my time is running the HOA. We do have site services people and event managers and things like that help us out with that kind of thing. And let's see here. Yep. Yeah, some of the community assets that we've worked really hard, mostly on the Simpkins side, the land development side, to secure over the years and to design Town Center in such a way that it encourages people to gather and enjoy Big Sky as much as they can. From ice skating back, starting from a very, very small rink to what you're seeing out there now with a refrigerated ice rink. grocery stores, shops, restaurants, hotel, community center, hospital, Big Sky Discovery Academy, public transit, movie theater. The backstory to these projects is pretty interesting, but we worked really hard to get all of these, and we'll work really hard in the future to secure other assets for the community. So, thank you.
Thanks, Ryan, for all you do to make Big Sky better together. Next up, we have the Big Sky Zoning Advisory Committee and Philip Kudrowski. This is a local government committee established in 1996, and it consists of 5 committee members. The Big Sky Planning and Zoning Advisory Board consists of volunteer members who live or own property within the Gallatin Canyon Big Sky Zoning District. Did you all catch that? The board meets every first Monday of every month to review zoning applications such as conditional use permits, variances, planned unit developments, zone text amendments, zone map amendments, etc. The board reviews the applications, then takes input from the applicants and citizens. Then the board gives a recommendation for decision to the Gallatin County Planning Commission. The Planning Commission relies heavily on the recommendations from the advisory board. The Planning Commission then makes the final decision and ruling. It's a lot of fun stuff there, Philip. Next up is Philip, and we'll turn it over to him.
That was pretty good, Dan. I think you just gave my whole talk there, so next. No, so you can go to the next slide. Yeah, so we live in the Gallatin Canyon Big Sky zoning district. This district, there's a map next door if you're curious about the exact extents, but generally it goes up to the county line towards the resort, then it goes down into the canyon, upstream past the high school, and then downstream past Karst. It was adopted in 1996. The overlying guiding document for this was the Gallatin Canyon Big Sky Plan, and this was created by people who lived here in the early 90s, citizens and developers, and it kind of represents what their vision was for how this place would get developed. And so that's the overlying guiding document. But the meat is in the regulation, and the Gallatin Canyon Big Sky zoning regulation consists of 2 documents. There's actually, in Gallatin County, there are 22 districts. So part 1 is a generic zoning administrative regulation that applies to all of them. And then the second part is Gallatin Canyon Big Sky zoning regulation that applies specific to our district. And each of these districts has their own plan and their own regulation, but the regulation is where the meat is. It's where you get your entitlements, like what you're allowed to do with your property. It also has design guidelines like setbacks, building heights, these kinds of things. And both of these documents can be found at these links. But generally, the regulation is intended to support the plan, which was the vision for how this place would be. And it was updated, it was adopted in 96, but then updated in 2020. And then I guess the committee, I'm on the committee, and like I said, there's a commission, there's a Gallatin County Planning Commission that oversees all of these districts. And they don't have representation in all the districts, so they set up committees that consist of people who live in those districts and are like the local representation. And like he said, there are 5-person committees, and they're appointed positions, they're not voted in positions. The commission appoints them. They're 2-year term limits, no term limits, 2-year terms, I'm sorry. And basically they provide recommendations to the Planning Commission for final decisions on applications. They meet first Monday of every month at the Big Sky Water and Sewer District building, or Zoom now at 9:30. And these meetings are intended to give applicants an opportunity to kind of do a dry run of what it would be like in front of the real commission. And it's also an opportunity for public comment. And at the end, the committee votes to either recommend approval or not recommend approval, or recommend continuance. 2 minutes, okay, I'm almost done. And that's it, it's a recommendation. The commission can still make their own decisions, but I'd say in the 8 or 10 years I've been doing this, 95% of the time they follow the recommendation of the advisory board because they're kind of the locals. So I'll be next door if you guys have more questions, but I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Phil. Thank you for all you do to make Big Sky better together. Next up, we've got Justin Bain with Lone Mountain Land Company, a private organization that was established in 2014. Lone Mountain Land Company recognizes the importance of providing more housing options for the community as the employment base in Big Sky continues to grow. They have a solid track record of providing long-term housing options for Big Sky workers, and their newest workforce housing initiative exemplifies their commitment to helping solve the local housing issues. And with that, I'll turn it over to Justin.
Hi, everyone. As many of you know, we have a lot of real estate focused initiatives going on around Big Sky. Danny asked us to focus tonight on workforce housing and what we're doing there. Over the last, sorry, I didn't realize we were on that slide already. Over the last few years, we've grown a specific segment of our company to focus specifically on this issue. We plan to be here in Big Sky doing business for a very long time, if not forever. And we don't believe the housing market is healthy. That's a key component of the long-term economic vitality of this place. So I'm one of many people on our team that wake up every day focused on this effort. And over the last few years, we've raised specific capital for this problem or for this initiative, as well as grown the team significantly. Just to frame the problem a little bit as we see it, some of the bigger structural issues that we think we're up against here, one is just more people are coming here now, and that was inevitable. We have an amazing experience here in Big Sky, and it was only a matter of time before that happened. But we also have an extreme shortage of hotel keys, and we use Jackson as an example there. Jackson has over 3,000 hotel keys and gets about the same amount of skier visits every year. We have probably 500 hotel rooms in this market, dedicated hotel rooms. And so as a result, the Airbnb market has emerged, and that's reduced the supply of housing in our housing stock that's available for locals and for long-term rental. The other thing that's contributed significantly to a low supply of local housing is just high construction costs. So it's incredibly expensive to build here in Big Sky, and it always has been, and that's gotten worse recently. That's a disincentive, obviously, to creating more housing supply. And so the numbers are kind of staggering when you look at the last bullet point here. If you assume it costs $700,000 to develop a new 3-bedroom house, and we have an identified need for over 1,000 units of housing, it's an over $600 million problem. We are optimistic that we, in conjunction with other members of the community, can make a big dent in that. Just real quick to talk about what we've done over the last few years. We developed 78 housing units in Big Sky Town Center, right in this vicinity. We're proud that 100% of these are leased to local families, local businesses, local individuals. And that kind of brings us to today, what we're doing today and what we're doing into the future. I touched on this right at the beginning, but we have been growing this part of our business significantly in the last year or two. We've been successful in identifying a significant amount of capital that will work towards that huge deficit we just talked about. And we have a pretty robust pipeline of projects either in development or in the pipeline. The 5 projects you see here in the middle of the page, those comprise about 500 units of density. About 350 of those exist or are under construction right now in Big Sky or in Gallatin Gateway. On the top here is an apartment building we just completed behind the Bucks T4 property. And then at the bottom is a rendering of our Powder Light project near the Ace Hardware that's under construction right now. I'm not going to go into detail on any of these projects, but I do want to talk about Riverview, which Laura talked about a few minutes ago. It's very early days. We haven't broken ground yet, but that's an example of a way that we've collaborated with other members of the community, specifically the Housing Trust, the Sewer District, and the Resort Tax, When we bought the property across the street from Ace Hardware about a year ago, there were significant development constraints on that property. But by working with Laura and Danny and others, we were able to put forth a plan to develop 100 units of density on that land. We brought it to the sewer district. They approved an annexation into the sewer district, which largely unlocked a larger amount of density for us on that property. So we're very optimistic that through collaborations like that, through the capital we've raised specifically for this effort, and then through the creativity and the experience of our own team, that we can really help solve this problem over the next several years.